Are you ready for a great adventure? Today on The World is Yours. We're cruising the United States' Pacific coast, from its picturesque beaches to its stunning state parks. Then we'll venture down to one of South America's most beautiful cities, Santiago de Chile, where we'll chow down on some of its local cuisine and check out the vibrant street art that decorates the city. And we'll finish our voyage on the southern coast of India, in Kerala, wandering through green tea plantations and dancing Kathakali, an ancient dance that originated here. It's time for another unforgettable adventure. The world is waiting, and the world is yours. Our journey begins in the United States, along its Pacific coast. The coast, which is made up of the western shores of California, Oregon, and Washington, is home to a variety of landscapes, from mountains to deserts and everything in between. San Diego, Los Angeles, San Francisco, and Seattle are some of the most visited cities on the coast, and there are dozens of interesting and charming small towns in between. This region is known for its picturesque beaches, ideal surfing locations, as well as its large number of national and state parks, which offer visitors the possibility of embarking on a fantastic adventure. We can't tour the Pacific coast without checking out the deepest lake in the country. You heard that right. Located in the state of Oregon, in the northwestern part of the United States, Crater Lake formed within the remains of an ancient volcano known as Mount Mazama. The volcano erupted and collapsed nearly 7,700 years ago, becoming the volcanic basin we know today as Crater Lake. And get this, the lake's depth reaches an astonishing 1,949 feet. Wow! The scene for this captivating lake is of deep blue waters and snow-covered mountains for a majority of the year. From October to June, you'll find an average of 44 feet of snow, sometimes even lasting all the way into July. And although it gets very cold here, it's not likely that the lake will freeze. The last time it was completely frozen was all the way back in 1949. Crater Lake is a notable start for our ride through the Pacific coast, but it's time to head south. Let's visit Redwood National and State Parks. Located in Northern California, it's one of North America's most emblematic parks and an important destination for tourists and nature lovers alike. This beautiful forest is known for having the tallest living tree in the world, the Hyperion, which stands at 379 feet tall. It is truly a giant. Our next stop, the Humboldt-Redwood State Park. We'll head to the Avenue of the Giants, a 31-mile-long stretch of road near the old California Coastal Highway 101. Here, we'll have a chance to see the trees the area is known for. The Sequoia sempervirens, better known as California Redwood. These giant trees hold records for being some of the largest and tallest trees on the planet. They can grow up to 200 feet tall. That's taller than the Leaning Tower of Pisa in Italy. And picture this, their branches can grow up to 8 feet in diameter. Think about that for a minute. A branch that is 8 feet thick. These mammoth trees aren't just impressive in size, but also in age, living up to 3,000 years. They are the third longest-lived tree species in the world, only outlived by Great Basin bristlecone pines and Patagonian cypresses. And you can't find these trees just anywhere. California redwoods require a very specific climate to grow. That's why you'll only find them in the western coast of the Sierra Nevada mountain range. That means from Central California all the way up to Southern Oregon. In addition to the Avenue of the Giants, there are 100 miles of marked trails throughout the park for horseback riding, mountain biking, and hiking. There are even areas for fishing and swimming. For an in-depth look at the park, you can learn from the experts. Park rangers run various tours throughout the year, giving us the opportunity to learn from those who know the area and these incredible trees really well. The Avenue of Giants has been monumental to say the least, but we have to keep this adventure rolling. Our next stop along the West Coast takes us to the Lost Coast, an isolated 25-mile-long stretch of coast located in Humboldt and Mendocino County in California. This area is characterized by its hills and cliffs. Its isolated location also makes it a geographical mystery. When construction for the U.S. Highway 101 began, engineers decided to move away from this coast as its terrain was too challenging for a road. And so today, the Lost Coast stands without access to any major roads, maintaining its isolated and secluded essence. This destination has now become a favorite among adventure-loving travelers, from hikers to climbers to surfers. Surfers wait all year long to enjoy the waves that come down from the Gulf of Alaska in the fall. And climbers from all over the world visit the Lost Coast for a chance to challenge the rocky and steep mountain ascents. If you're an adrenaline junkie at heart, this is a place for you. Our last stop on the Pacific Coast takes us to the famous Glass Beach at Fort Bragg. Can you guess why it's called Glass Beach? Well, take a look around. You won't find any sand on this beach. Glass Beach is covered with an incredible collection of colored glass shards that have been polished into gems by the ocean's waves, making it an incredibly unique place. But this destination wasn't always on travelers' bucket lists. Before it was known as Glass Beach, this location was known as The Dumps, because it was one of the city's trash dumps. What? It's true. Fort Bragg residents would often throw their garbage over the cliffs to their demise. That was until city leaders decided to close the area and instill cleanup initiatives to correct their previous disposal methods. Fast forward a few decades, and this beach is now a must-see for those cruising through the Pacific Coast. I guess the old saying rings true when it comes to Glass Beach. One man's trash is another man's treasure. It's time to move on. But first, let's test your world knowledge. Which of these cities is the capital of Chile? A. Viña del Mar. B. Santiago. C. Concepcion. D. Temuco. The answer coming up when we return to The World is Yours. We're back. Let's find out the answer to our question. Which of these cities is the capital of Chile? A. Viña del Mar. B. Santiago. C. Concepcion. D. Temuco. Do you know the answer? If you said B, Santiago, you're right. Chile is located in the extreme southwestern part of South America, and its capital city, Santiago, is where we're headed next. Welcome to Santiago. The capital city sits in the center of the Santiago Basin, which is a valley surrounded by mountains. To the north of the city is the Casas de Chacabuco, and to the south, the Angostura de Paine, a part of the Andes mountain range that lies close to the coast. There's a lot to see here in Santiago, but let's kick things off by digging into this city's food scene. Chilean cuisine stems from Spanish cuisine and the indigenous Chilean culture, meaning these dishes are packed with flavor. Humitas are a local delicacy. This Chilean version of the tamale is made of boiled flour and corn and is stuffed with ingredients like ground corn, paprika, onion, basil, and served with a Chilean salad, known around here as ensalada a la chilena. If you're in a rush, grab a completo. This is the Chilean version of the hot dog, and as promised, This South American-style hot dog is packed with a kick. Served with sauerkraut, tomato, avocado, and tons of mayonnaise, you might end up needing both hands to chow down on this bad boy. And you can't visit Chile without trying empanadas. This Latin-style turnover is a favorite among locals and tourists alike. Filled with meat, onions, raisins, black olives, and hard-boiled eggs, it's gonna be hard to eat just one. Now that we're all fueled up, let's really get this adventure through Santiago going. Our first stop is at Cajon del Maipo. Located about 20 miles from the metropolitan area of Santiago, this canyon, hidden within the Andes Mountains, will leave you speechless. It's Santiago's largest natural area and has become synonymous with adventure. We can hike up the mountains, soak in the warm waters of the termas, which are hot springs, zip line, raft, ski, horseback ride, even bungee jump. We'll find 3 iconic climbing options here: the El Morado Lookout, the San Francisco Glacier, and El Morado, all which ascend to heights over 14,000 feet. All right, it's time to head back down and check out another interesting gem that Santiago has to offer: street art. National Geographic named Santiago as one of the best places to visit in the world for its street art. And we can see why. These outdoor galleries are overflowing with color, shape, and history. This hypnotizing art form dates back to the political scene of the late 60s and early 70s in Chile. The country's opposing political parties decided on different methods to spread their message, the left side relying on images over words. As the political unrest continued into the 80s and 90s, so did the art form. Artists like Inti are famous today for their works on Chile's walls. Now that we've soaked in some of the art this city has to offer, let's wrap up our tour of Santiago on a more royal note at La Moneda Palace. La Moneda Palace isn't home to royalty, even though it's a palace, but it does serve as the president's seat and is one of the most important buildings in Santiago. This building opened in 1805 and was originally designed to be the Chilean Mint, a facility where Chile's currency, money, would be produced. This connection to currency explains the origin of the building's name, La Moneda Palace. Moneda means coin in Spanish. To visit this palace, you'll have to plan ahead of time, as there's a process required to join a tour. Since the palace is currently the seat of government, the only way to visit it is on a guided tour. The palace is full of incredible detail and wonderful history to explore. That wraps up our tour around Santiago, Chile. We're jumping over a couple oceans to make it to our last stop today, but first, let's test your world knowledge. How many official languages are there in India? A, 2. B, 40. C, 22. D, 10. The answer coming up when we return to The World Is Yours. We're back. Let's find out the answer to our question. How many official languages are there in India? A, 2. B, 40. C, 22. D, 10. If you said C, 22, you're right. There are 22 official languages in India, including Bengali, Dogri, and Sanskrit, just to name a few. And there are many different dialects. Dialects differ from language because these are a form of speaking that's specific to a region, while language is the method of communication used to speak and write in a country. You must be wondering, how do people communicate here with so many different dialects and languages? Well, in addition to speaking their regional language or dialect, the majority of the population in India also speaks English. In fact, in 2012, India claimed to be the second largest English-speaking country, with 125 million of its inhabitants speaking the language. Okay, ready to explore? Welcome to Kerala. Kerala is on the southern coast of India and is a relatively small state. It extends along the Malabar coast and is bordered to the north by Karnataka, Tamil Nadu to the east, and to the south by the Indian Ocean, which is the third largest ocean in the world. Because Kerala is located near the coast, it's influenced by the different cultures that come up to its ports. Kerala is considered the most serene and beautiful state in the southern part of India. Among its 370 miles of coastline, its backwaters, and its hills full of tea plantations, it's definitely a setting that is in harmony with nature. Kerala is a world apart, far, far away from the chaotic life of the city. Our tour of Kerala begins in the town of Munnar. With a quick look at its mountains, you might think you're seeing rows and rows of grapes like you'd find in a vineyard, but a closer look will reveal that these are vast fields of tea. These impressive hills are the epicenter of one of the largest tea growing areas in southern India. The offices of some of the major tea traders in all of India are found right here in Munnar, and it's a big business. Tea is the most consumed beverage in the world. Popular teas like black tea and green tea are made from an evergreen shrub called Camellia sinensis that originated in Southeast Asia between India and China. While touring the fields, you may be surprised by the vegetation that surrounds you and the care and dedication that this plant requires. You will also see the incredible people who pick the leaves of this shrub by hand. If you look closely, you will notice that they use a very thick and heavy apron or smock to protect them from the shrub's branches as they move through the plantation, carrying large bags full of tea leaves. It's an extraordinary scene. Being in the highest areas of the fields is like being in the middle of the clouds, surrounded by the most amazing tones of green imaginable. Want to see something cool that came out of Kerala? Check out these moves. This traditional dance is called Kathakali and could be compared to the Japanese kabuki. This dance style is a major form of Hindu performance art and dates back centuries. This dance includes makeup, masks, flamboyant costumes, and stories that are told through carefully choreographed steps and movements of the hands and facial gestures during each dance, set to the rhythm of drums and bells. These precise movements are not only accompanied by music, but also the voices of the actors. Traditionally, this dance is done by men, but recently, women were included in the performances. Though the origin of the dance cannot be clearly traced back, it appears that it might have originated in temples more than 1,500 years ago. It developed into the form we see today in palaces and theaters throughout the area. 1,500 years ago. That's incredible. All right, we've seen Kerala's full of surprises, don't you think? But we're not done yet. When we return, we'll visit some beautiful backwaters that call Kerala home. But first, let's test your world knowledge. Kerala is known as the Venice of the East because of its A. Plantations, B. Food, C. Weather, D. Backwaters. The answer coming up when we return to The World is Yours. We're back. Let's find out the answer to our question. Kerala is known as the Venice of the East because of its A. Plantations, B. Food, C. Weather, D. Backwaters. If you said D. Backwaters, you're right. Continuing our tour of Kerala takes us from the mountains to the coastal area and the Kerala backwaters. Known as the Venice of the East, this area of Kerala covers a series of lakes, estuaries, canals, and lagoons parallel to the Arabian Sea. It is one of the favorite tourist destinations in southern India. Kavai Kayal is one of the backwater destinations here and is one of the largest wetlands in North Kerala, with an area of about 14 square miles. It's the crossroads of 5 different rivers and the Kankol, Vanatikal, Kupirodu, and Kunyan streams. For all its natural wonder, this location has been deemed as one of the most exotic places in all of Kerala. With this spectacular view of the sea and all the marvels of southern India we've seen, it's time we say goodbye, for now. We checked out some of the amazing parks and landscapes along the Pacific coast of the United States. We journeyed south to Chile to take in all the vibrant street art the city of Santiago has to offer. And finally, we jumped over to the other side of the planet and ended our adventure on the southwestern coast of India, in Kerala, amongst the green tea leaves and peaceful lagoons. Thanks for joining us on our trip around the world. There are many more adventures to come. Until next time, the world is waiting, and the world is yours.